And live from the Scheinfeld Center Innovator Studio at Santa Barbara City College, it's the Enlightened Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Julie Sampson, director of the Scheinfeld Center, and thank you everyone for joining us here to build livelihoods that matter, be your own boss, and make the world an even better place. Well, 3D printing is changing the game in manufacturing and production, ushering in the new era of Industry 4.0. Thanks to its accessibility, customization, efficiency, and affordability. So what is 3D printing and what should you know about it? Joining us to break it down are three 3D printing experts. Coming to us from Florida is Cheniuntai, the technological innovator and entrepreneur who is disrupting the construction industry using proprietary robotics to 3D print homes. Anna is the co-founder and CEO of Apis Cor, the most advanced and pioneering robotics 3D printing construction company. Coming to us all the way from the Gambia, Africa, is Fatou Juka Darbo, an entrepreneur and the managing director of Make 3D Company Limited, the first and only 3D printing company in the Gambia, focusing on 3D printing in healthcare, education, and general manufacturing. And then finally, joining us here from Santa Barbara is Michael Bales. He's CEO and co-founder of Santa Barbara Hackerspace, a nonprofit organization founded in 2012, dedicated to helping makers and hackers to build, experiment, and learn together. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you here. You are involved in inspiring work, and we're excited to learn a bit about it.
Hello, really happy to be here today. Thank you.
Let's define 3D printing quickly. So also known as additive manufacturing, it's a method of creating 3D objects, three-dimensional objects, where the material is added layer by layer using computers to guide the design. The first 3D printing experiments and patents happened in the 1980s, and it's evolved greatly then with new applications, techniques, and materials. Some benefits of 3D printing over traditional manufacturing are that it accommodates complex geometries, it reduces production lead time, and it provides quick design iteration. Its primary uses are to gain proof of concept, prototyping, and manufacturing. And a common misconception about 3D printing is that it can only be used for like small objects that you could hold in your hands. Well, we're going to show you the potential of this technology today with our guests. So let's start out with our first question. 3D printing has important applications in the housing, medical, and prototyping manufacturing industries. If you could, each of you, please describe your business, how it uses 3D printing, and one of your current projects that demonstrates the innovative use of 3D printing in your industry. Juka, would you like to start us off?
Yes. Hello, Julie. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here to talk about 3D printing in Gambia. So basically, when we started in November 2019, there was no 3D printing. And as you said, 3D printing is an industry that is growing globally. And in a country like the Gambia, our manufacturing capabilities are really limited, and we don't have the the privilege to actually use 3D printing for just prototyping. So we thought if we can use 3D printing, like in the cases of COVID-19, when COVID-19 started, we basically had no access to PPEs, to medical goods, and there was just a shortage of goods everywhere in the Gambia, and we just had to come up with solutions. And that was just at the beginning of our business. So we came up and disrupted the market, printing face shields, printing PPEs, and laboratory equipment. So we were able to customize and come up with solutions there with what we have in the Gambia. So this is just one of the amazing things you can do with 3D printing. And that was the beginning for us.
Yes. Yeah, so entrepreneurial, the way that opportunity came up and you were just right on it. That's super exciting. So Anna.
COVID-19.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I was saying COVID-19, a lot of people saw it as a curse, but for us as a business, it was a blessing because we were able to position ourselves and show what we could do with our technology and provide solutions in the process.
So our company is the construction technology company, and we develop the proprietary robotics system to 3D print full-scale houses using concrete-like materials. So it's basically the 3D printing that we are all very familiar with, but our machines are bigger, so we can 3D print larger objects like real houses. And instead of plastic, we use durable, strong, concrete-like material. And basically, what the benefit of that approach is how to build houses much quicker with better quality, and also how we can reduce the reliance on skilled labor, which is unfortunately very, very expensive today and not really available. It's a lot of work that we need to do to build as many homes as we need, but it's that little labor available today in the market. So the idea is how we can introduce robots to help us build more houses and fill that gap of the affordable housing on any housing that we need today. And so the technology that we develop, it's not only how to improve the construction here on Earth, it's also something that can be someday applied to autonomously build shelters on Moon and Mars for first to arrive. Because obviously robots are going to be first there, right, to do something. They're already there. And so to demonstrate this ability, we already participated in NASA competition. It's called 3D Printed Habitat Challenge. And that was the first step when NASA wanted to explore what technologies are available today, technologies of autonomous robotics, 3D printing, construction technology. The task was pretty challenging because we needed to 3D print the elements of the future habitat in a full autonomous way, which we successfully delivered. We are the finalist of that NASA challenge. And in addition to that, here on Earth, we also 3D printed the largest 3D printed building on Earth. It's a Guinness record. And that was possible because our system, our robotic system, is very compact. When I'm saying compact, it's not something that you can put in your pocket, but relatively to the large vehicles and machinery, it's pretty compact because you can use just a pickup truck to deliver that. And so right now we're working on actively to bring this technology for the mass use, starting in the United States. And as you know, we already going to have the project in Santa Barbara with the Housing Trust Foundation. And we're really excited about that cooperation and really excited about, starting this and talking about this later this year and showing the 3D printed house in your neighborhood.
As you know, because of your project here, the housing situation here in Santa Barbara and actually throughout our nation, it's really challenging, the affordability of it and the availability of it,
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited that you're innovating on the edge there and helping to drive things forward and think big, think out of the box about these things. It's so great.
Thanks.
All right. And Michael.
Yeah, we're probably the odd one out here in that more providing the resources, but as far as our members' usage, the rapid prototyping aspect has been amazing. Just going from having to find something off the shelf that was close to what you wanted and modify it, and now being able to do exactly what you want in a very limited amount of time with just software and a small machine. We're also a little different because 3D printing is really became popular right around the time a lot of hackerspaces started. So we got our first one in 2011 or 2012. So for us, it's always been something that's available.
That's so great. So you're making it available to people in the community, which that's so important, and we'll be hearing more about that. I think that's also innovation, making innovation available to a community is super important. So we'll be eager to hear more about the Santa Barbara hackerspace and your experience. If we could hear from each of you the top 3 benefits that 3D printing brings to your industry over traditional manufacturing, and how does that end up improving the lives of the consumers or the end users? Michael, why don't you start off with this one?
Sure. So benefits wise, if we weren't 3D printing things, we'd probably be machining it. And, then you need a machine roughly the size of a room for a lot of the stuff we do. And it's messy. There's coolant, there's tooling that breaks, a lot more consumables. So being able to 3D print things, brought that from a room size machine with all these, all this garbage it produces to a small desktop machine, and there's very little, if any, waste. And a lot of that waste is recyclable. And then additionally, just the skill involved is much lower. So machining something, you have to have somebody with usually years of experience to set up the machine, run the jobs, being able to even program the jobs. Whereas the 3D printer, we have a web interface on ours, so you drag and drop and you've got an object in a couple hours. Lastly, just the materials involved. 3D printing has come a long way in the last few years, but there's now such a wide variety of materials that you can find something with the properties you need for your specific application, and being able to buy them in much smaller quantities than, a big piece of bar stock that you then machine down. I'd say those are the top 3 for us.
So basically what we do, it's the same additive manufacturing process, but just for the much larger objects. And additive manufacturing actually brings one of the top, I would say, benefits to any type of prototyping, whether it's small parts or big like houses. It's the significant reduction of waste. Because as Michael mentioned, if we don't have additive manufacturing, we need to mill, like do the CNC machining. I don't know if all of the participants familiar with that, but basically it's when you have this stock material and then you cut out all of the, excessive material to receive the shape you want. But with the additive manufacturing, you don't do that. You add as much material precisely as you need to create the shape of a house. So this is why you don't have all of this metal chops or like a waste of material, right? So it's like a more efficient and almost zero waste. So this is something that we also can say about the 3D printed houses. And just to be clear, 3D printed houses, it's not the entire finished house. Today, it's only the wall structures, but wall structures is the main part of the house. If you don't have a wall, if you don't have walls, you don't have house, you don't have anything where you can install roofing and windows, right? So we can significantly reduce the waste during the phase of construction when we build up the walls. Then second, it's a consistent and predictable quality, because the 3D printers are basically the machines. So we 3D print the wall structures and the shell of a house with the machinery precision. That means that you don't need to constantly fix the errors that all the time happens due to the human labor involved in that. That's fine. We all the time make mistakes, right? But machines, they're more reliable in that. So it's, again, predictable and better quality. So consistency of the builds are very important. And then again, you can 3D print the shapes that were very, very expensive before, or even not available, not possible to build using the traditional materials like wood sticks or bricks and concrete blocks. It was like a completely different story. But for the 3D printer, it doesn't matter if you 3D print the straight line or its curved line, for example. And curved lines and curved shapes, they actually can be much better in terms of the wind resistant, flood pressure resistant, because it's simple physics. If you have the shaped curve, the payload and everything is distributed differently, so it's much stronger structure. So I would say it's like these three benefits: better consistent quality, way less waste during the phase of 3D printing the walls, and it's more resilient and better structures in terms of the wind load and even earthquake questions. It's more earthquake resistant houses.
Yeah. Wow. So just so in line with what we are needing more of right now, you know, with everything that's going on in the world. And thank you for your description between additive manufacturing and subtractive. That was
subtractive. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay, Juga.
Yes, thank you, Julie. Again, in our part of the world, it is quite different because yes, we are a bit far from the advanced world, and we don't always have access to goods that we need. So in the Gambia, what 3D printing has done mostly is shortening the logistic chains, because previously you have to wait for most of these goods to come to Gambia when you need them, and it will take 2 months, 3 months. Now with 3D printing technology, when you need something in a laboratory, you don't have to wait that long. We can manufacture it in Gambia and test it. It can take a week to test and adjust and have the design or the perfect thing that you want, but it's still shorter than waiting for months for something that you have imported to go all around the world to get to you. So we have been able to shorten the logistic chains when it comes to the access of goods. And the number two for us is definitely being able to contextualize and customize for Gambian needs. Because yes, everyone needs healthcare products. Yes, everyone needs orthopedic humeral braces or prosthetics for amputees. But you realize that the amputees that are coming from, let's say, the US or the UK are meant for mostly people that are living there, being the physical structures, the environment, and even access to roads where these prosthetics will be used is different, because the environmental situation in Gambia and in your part of the world is completely different. So being able to customize and contextualize to what works for us here is one of the engineering works that we are doing when it comes to making these medical goods. So we are making things that we need on the ground for us, basically pretty much the same thing, and enhancing local businesses using 3D printing. We are using 3D printing and bringing the technology to fields that were non-tech related at all, like local soap manufacturing for local women. Previously, they were manufacturing soaps, hundreds of soaps, different shapes, different sizes, different molds, and they never had any standard molds customized, and they were not able to quantify what they were making. But with 3D printing, they can have the same type of mold, hundreds of them, and they can make thousands of soaps branded, quantified, and they're able to manage their production. So this and many more uses, being able to bring technology and enhancing local businesses is one of my favorites, but also making people adopt technology, because another example in healthcare is the orthopedic humeral brace that we made and got it licensed by the Medicines Control Agency in the Gambia. It is the first 3D printed medical device that has been licensed in the Gambia, and it is very similar to the traditional bones and sticks that the local bone setters are using. What we did with that, with an orthopedic surgeon in the Gambia, was to develop it and make it look like the devices that the traditional bone healers are using, that people would rather go to before, because it was faster for them and it was easier, and this is what they know. So in order to make them understand that they need to go to the hospital and have something that works and is similar to what these people are using, you have to show them. You have to show them that this will work, it is simple, it looks like this, and it is safer. So being able to get people to adopt technology is one of our success stories, basically.
Wow, that is just so inspiring, the way you brought 3D printing to the Gambia, and it's being used in so many different ways, like you were talking about, to improve your citizens' lives, and it's just so hopeful. You know, I think it's can inspire so much hope for other countries who are experiencing similar challenges, just an innovative way to move past that. And, it, like you were talking about, it's a blessing that comes out of COVID, right? It's just
it is definitely not just COVID, but just having a machine and knowing that it can do pretty much anything you want it to do and customize. I think that's a blessing in its own. So in Gambia or in other African countries, we have similar problems, but the way you would solve it might be different. But with technology, you can always make it to fit your needs and use it the way you want. So for me, this is the most beautiful thing about 3D printing technology. The fact that I can make what I want and make it to fit myself and those around me.
Yes, beautiful. Is there like your most inspiring story that demonstrates the impact of 3D printing, that's brought to the Gambia? Is there a story that sticks out with that?
My most inspiring story is when we did the prosthetic legs for a 2-year-old girl. This girl was amputated before she could walk, and she has never walked in her life. So when she came to our office, there was no prosthetic available for her in Gambia because all the prosthetics that were coming to the country were imported and none was customized to fit her. It's a 2-year-old that has never walked and has lost both legs. So when she came to the office, we started looking at it. We were like, okay, this is something that we can actually test out. We were not sure. She came with the medical people and they did the test. We always make sure that we have doctors or someone that is experienced in the health sector because yes, we have the engineering background, but we are not health professionals. And after doing the test, this girl went and chose her filament, and it was pink, bright color pink filament. It was absolutely beautiful. We made the prosthetics customized to her, and she wore it. Next thing we saw, she was playing football. And this is someone that has never walked in her life. It was amazing. This is one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. It was automatic. I have these prosthetic legs now. I can use them. I can walk. I can even play football. And for me, this is one of the stories that actually keeps me going whenever I think of 3D printing in Gambia. It's about the lives that it can change. It's about the solutions that it can provide. And you can see them immediately, like you can actually see them. You don't have to wait for months to see. You know that with 3D printing, as she grows, you can still adjust the prosthetics. You can make new ones because she'll need them. And there is a solution for that. So for me, this is one of the most inspiring stories.
Great story, thank you.
Definitely.
Okay, Anna, so Apis Cor is working on the first 3D printed housing project, like you talked about here in Santa Barbara, to address affordable housing. And you talked a little bit about the construction, but could you share with us what it's like living in a 3D printed home? Like, what are the top benefits and any drawbacks that people experience?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So first of all, the 3D printed houses and specifically the 3D print material that we use, it's basically concrete. And it's actually stronger than the concrete blocks, gray big blocks that you can see everywhere that we used to build houses traditionally. It's kind of like a big bricks, but gray in color. So we 3D print houses which are stronger than even those concrete block houses. So once you start living in the 3D printed house, you don't really see the big difference because it's going to look like just a beautiful, really strong and durable house. And the quality of the walls that we 3D print, it's really, really advanced and high. So what I mean is that 3D printed wall, the surface is really smooth. And you can just paint it right away. You will see like strips of 3D printed layers, but you will not see the 3D printed layers that looks like sausages. It's like some of the other texture that you can see in other 3D printed houses. So of course you will see immediately, oh, this is houses 3D printed. In our case scenario, it's really hard to see that it actually was 3D printed unless you just really see the 3D printed walls just painted. So we can still install dry walls. We can still apply stucco. So again, it's going to look like the standard house. But if we incorporate some curved shapes, for example, it's just going to look much more nicer, kind of like the unique design. But in terms of living in the house, it's even better because the 3D printed houses can be more energy efficient due to the way how the 3D printed walls are 3D printed and how we also install the insulation. And it's more noise resilient, so if we 3D print the interior walls, you may not hear at all what's happening in the next room, right? Because right now, typically with the traditional construction, all of the interior walls, they are wood framed. That means that you pretty hear everything, or like it's not that, like a complete noise reduction. So this is the pretty big benefit. And when you have a big family, for example, that's pretty important, right? Or if, for example, you have the house that used by several students or like, who share the house, it's also important. And about the drawbacks, I wouldn't say that there are any drawbacks because first, it's going to be the house, right? And any durable, nice house, it's already it's a dream, right? For like most of, I would say for all of us living in the United States and across the world, we all dream about our own house, right? Like our home. So I would say with the 3D printed houses, it's only the benefits coming with that for the end users who are going to live in that. And again, if you're not told that this house is 3D printed, you probably will not see the difference.
Just a quick question. Can you do multi-level homes with 3D printing, or are they one level typically?
We can do up to 2 floors.
Okay.
We also can do up to 3 floors. But it's like, we never did it before, but we know that theoretically it's possible. But 2 floors, yes, it's easy. And for example, our building in Dubai, which is the Guinness World Record as the largest 3D printed building on Earth, it was 31 feet tall, but it was still 2 stories. But each floor was about 15 feet. So it was much higher than traditional, height of the house. So even that is possible. And again, that's possible because our 3D printer is mobile and pretty compact. So we can move it around the construction site and we can put it on the 2nd floor and keep printing the walls of the 2nd floor.
Sounds amazing. I can't wait to see the Santa Barbara project.
Yeah, likewise.
I hope that you're going to allow, like, I don't know, sleepover or cook in or something so the community can experience it. That would be super fun.
Yep.
So thank you. And Michael, so Santa Barbara Hackerspace, it helps aspiring entrepreneurs overcome the barriers to bringing projects to market. So you talked a little bit about the benefits to startup founders and aspiring entrepreneurs of becoming of using this technology, but what's the benefit of being a part of a community? So you're a creative community as opposed to people just doing projects on their own.
Well, I think community-wise, the biggest thing that I've experienced is being able to just be in the same room with somebody else and communicate about a problem, and you get kind of that tribal knowledge as opposed to just a single person. It's definitely been big. So, I've done a couple of projects that involved electronics work, and it's not really my field. And I've been able to go ask somebody else that, that's what they do for their day job, and just very quickly be able to get direct answers. Definitely that. And then even if you're not directly working with somebody, sometimes somebody will come by and see what you're doing, and that'll spark an idea for them, or they can point out something you may have missed, or something you didn't even think to ask. So definitely that community resource.
Yeah, so important. Even when my team and I were putting together this podcast, we were noticing that just being in a community, the ideas and the brainstorming that happens, is just amazing. We are coming up with our own 3D printed projects we want to get going. So it's so great that you offer, that the accessibility to a community, where some of these things wouldn't be, available to people, all the different types of the 3D printing, but then all the other different types of equipment and tools and stuff to make things. That's great. If we could just go around to each three of you, what is the single breakthrough that you foresee on the horizon with 3D printing in your industry that you're excited about and that we should keep our eyes on? Let's see, Juga, would you like to lead off?
Personally, my biggest breakthrough in Gambia would be to have 3D printing at all hospitals in the Gambia so everyone can 3D print when they need it. So this is something that I am working on, and this is what I want to see happening in 3D printing in Gambia.
So in our industry, it's definitely about the materials. So today we use the concrete-like material, right? But the 3D printing for construction allows and actually opens the horizons for the alternative and eco-friendly materials. And we even already tested cement-free material. It's still durable. It's actually even more stronger than the concrete, but it's cement-free. So this is something that we're really excited about, is to introduce eco-friendly materials. Just imagine that millions of homes can be built with the material that does not contain cement at all. That would be a significant contribution to our planet health, I would say.
I think just the rapid developments of improvements to the lower end machines. So, the things that a small small school or hackerspace could afford, those machines are getting so much better. And, that trajectory seems like it's going to continue. So faster, higher precision, more available materials, and less expensive.
Well, we're reaching the end of our time here. Maybe if we could end with, do you have each of you have a tip that you would like to share with students who are hearing about what you're doing, feeling inspired, wanting to take the next step? What tip do you have? Michael, would you like to head off?
If you're here in town, stop by the Santa Barbara Hackerspace. We're in Old Town Goleta. And if you're not in town, then, find your local hackerspace or makerspace. Most cities will have some sort of resources, and 3D printers are the most accessible thing almost every one of them has. So
fantastic. And we will link to the Santa Barbara Hackerspace, and we have your LinkedIn in the video description. Anna, how about you?
I would just follow Michael's advice and would advise the same. Go and find the hobby center or makerspace. There are a lot of spaces across the country where you can come and work with a lot of different tools and machinery and learn how to build things. And this is really important. This skill of knowing what this CNC machine is about, what this laser cutting machine can do, and how you actually can work with the different materials to build something. I think this is really important. And this is my advice. And because I also was the part of we were the residents of Autodesk Technology Center in Boston. They have very advanced the space with a lot of CNC machines and a lot of different fabrication processes where you can just go and learn, right? So that was really huge contribution into my personal education and making my knowledge much broader. So I definitely recommend to do the same. Just try to learn how to build stuff.
Yeah, great advice. And We will link to Apis Cor and also your LinkedIn profile. And then finally, Juka, yeah, your thoughts, your best tip.
I will bring you back to the Gambian context. In my case, it was a matter of curiosity that got me into this business. Wanting to provide solutions for myself, and then realizing that I could use this technology to provide solutions for those around me. So being able to understand the problems around you and contextualizing based on that. Yes, 3D printing is cool. It's a nice technology and it's amazing. You can sit and watch a 3D printer print the entire day and you will enjoy it. But for me, what is important is being able to have something that is really practical and something that people can use because they need it. So coming back to the Gambian context is being able to contextualize, being able to give people what they need using technology. So I believe it's one of the best things you can do, being able to solve problems that are there using technology. So maybe look problems around you, use the labs and solve them, and you will be amazed at what things you will find.
Yes, sage advice, very wonderful. And we will link to Maker 3D Company Limited, and also your LinkedIn is in our profile. You can believe it, we're at the end of our time. I could continue this conversation well into the night, but Juka, it's way past, prime time for you. So we'll have to bring it to a close. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us and inspiring us in our next steps with 3D printing. And for our audience, we hope that this inspires you to explore 3D printing, to bring your great ideas to life. Here at SBCC, we have the SBCC Makerspace, which is available for you to use. And so be sure to check in with us about the possibilities there, and also the Santa Barbara Hackerspace in town, both wonderful resources. And be sure to follow these cutting edge entrepreneurs as they are bringing their ideas forward and get inspired to bring your passion and ideas to life. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks again to our guests. Bye.
Bye-bye.